Welcome to Dream Vacations with Lori and Greg Schuss. If you love to travel, we're here to help you plan that special vacation. We are so glad you joined us today, so enjoy the show.
And what a show we have once again. Charlie McDermott, producer, and I am here with Lori and Greg. And guys, I am psyched. You gave me a little teaser. I always loved trains as a kid. And oops, I'm going to spoil. I better keep quiet. Greg and Lori, who do you have here with us today?
Well, Charlie, we're so pleased to have Jeff Caesar from Rocky Mountaineer. He is our business development manager that we work with, and Jeff and his sales team have been excellent to work with as we've been able to put clients on his trains. But again, Jeff's going to tell us all about fantastic luxury train vacations in Canada and the U.S.
Wow.
Thanks for joining.
Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. I appreciate you all being here, and thank you all for listening or watching, whether you're watching this live or another time that works best for you. I have to tell you, you're working with some of the best. Greg and Lori have really an amazing amount of experience, not just with luxury rail travel, which we'll get into today, but river cruising, ocean cruising, all-inclusives. Know that they are amazing at what they do, and it's so nice to be able to tell them what you want to do, when you want to do it, with the budget that works best for you. So utilize these experts, and I hope they can definitely plan a trip for you over the near future, a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, that they are amazing. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to some of the past episodes, but I was just sharing for our listeners off mic. I love it when we record these podcasts because that night at dinner and typically it's like the next night and the next night, I'm talking to my wife about, oh my goodness. And then this time we were talking about river cruises. And this time we were talking about, and what I love about what you do, Jeff, it's one of those vacations that you don't think about it until someone presents it like Lori and Greg, and you go, oh my God, yeah, that's such a great idea. I've always wanted to do that, but you forget about it. So I'm really jazzed to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I'm happy to share everything that I know. And I've been with the company for a little over 9 years. So you can say I have just that much experience to share with you all.
Awesome. So for someone who is a novice, because I'm sure you get once someone does a luxury train vacation, they come back, but someone who's just looking for the first time, what's that experience like?
So what our experiences are going to be like, it's a daytime traveling train. Our average speed is only 30 miles an hour. We slow down for all the bridges, the waterfalls, the wildlife, the wilderness on board. And we're traveling and taking you through some of the most beautiful parts in the Canadian Rockies. So from Vancouver into places like Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, and then also in the U.S. Rockies, Denver, Colorado, and then heading over westbound into Moab, Utah, which is home to Arches and Canyonlands and Dead Horse Point, where Thelma and Louise went off the cliff. So it's all about getting to some of the most iconic, beautiful sights and scenery close to home, if not in your backyard, depending where you are located. And we do it in a very luxurious, seamless experience.
Wow. You mentioned Jasper and Banff. We actually named our dog Jasper years ago, and we took our kids there because it was just so gorgeous. So we've never seen anything like it. And that was the old-fashioned plane and cars. I can't imagine what it'd be like in these modern train inventions that we've. Oh no, I'm sorry. Trains have been around a long, long time. So what? Inside, I have so many questions. What's the experience like inside the train?
So we have two different types of train cars that we use the majority of the time. One is called Silverleaf, and the other is called Goldleaf. Silverleaf, just to kind of describe it, because I don't have an image of it, it's a single-story car, panoramic views with an arched window at the top. All of these train cars have an outdoor vestibule area or outdoor veranda space that you can access anytime you like while on board. So you can go outside and soak in the scenery as it passes by at such a slow speed. On board, the Silverleaf, you have 3 hosts or hostesses who are going to handle all the commentary. They're going to talk about what's coming up ahead. They're going to do storytelling. They're going to tell jokes. They'll keep you entertained, aware, and up to date of everything. You have all-inclusive alcohol. Everything on board the train is all-inclusive.
Wow.
And then you have, of course, meals. On Silverleaf, these are prepared a few feet away from where you're sitting, delivered right to your seat with 1 to 2 appetizer options, 2 to 3 entree options, and a dessert option that change daily for breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner, pending your itinerary. Now, switching over to Gold Leaf, this is a 2-story bi-level coach dome, 360-degree dome windows on the top level. On the downstairs, you also have an outdoor veranda space that holds around 15 to 20 people comfortably. This is about 3 times the size larger than what we have on Silverleaf. You have a dining area, which is also below the top level where you're sitting. So you sit primarily on the top level with the 360-degree dome windows.
Mm-hmm.
Downstairs, full dining car. So instead of eating at your seat like you would on Silverleaf, you have Michelin-trained chefs cooking made-to-order food literally a few feet away from where you're sitting. Here you have a lot more variety of options to choose from, a much bigger kitchen. So you're looking at 2 to 3 appetizer options, 5 to 6 entree options, multiple dessert options that change daily for all of your meals on board. And finally, upstairs, you have 4 hosts as opposed to 3, all-inclusive alcohol as well. It is truly fine dining, luxury experience all the way.
Holy cow. Wow. So are there different destinations, different lengths of trips? How does that work?
Yeah, so the average length that people love to do, and I think it's mirrored off of your cruise experience or river cruise experience, are 7 nights, 8 nights. But we can really be quite customizable to work with your budget, to work with the time you have available. And the best thing about this type of trip is you have, once again, Greg and Lori to go to and say, I got this much money I want to spend. I want to go at this time of the year. Make it happen. And they will do their best, because with us, we handle everything for you. Remember, you never sleep on board. You stay in hotels every night. Yes, because if you're sleeping, you're missing the scenery, the wildlife, the wilderness. We don't want you to be sleeping in some of the most beautiful sightseeing parts along the whole entire trip. We'll handle all the hotels for you, and you can be customizable with your budget, choosing between 3-star properties and 5-star properties. You can add nights, take away nights, add tours, take away tours. Do what makes sense for your time. You can do this trip as quick as 4 nights, 5 days. Average is 7 nights. You can go as long as 15, 20 nights. Once again, being quite customizable. We have multiple different itineraries in the Canadian Rockies, going eastbound, westbound, or round trip Vancouver or round trip Calgary. And in the U.S., we also have trips that go either eastbound, westbound. You could start or end your trip in either Denver, Moab, Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, or Las Vegas, Nevada. And with multiple different touring options to get you into Bryce and Zion and Coral State Reef Park and Monument Valley and Arches and Canyonlands and so forth. I can keep going on. So it's a lot to unpack, and I don't want to overwhelm everyone who's listening. And I'm trying to talk at a somewhat slower speed so you can all take it in. But if you're enticed by what I'm telling you, once again, reach out to Greg, reach out to Lori, ask them just for a quick experience video. These are 1 to 2 minute videos that will just showcase what it's like, a snapshot on the train into the beautiful Canadian Rockies with some of the touring and sightseeing, or in the U.S. between Denver and Moab and into the beautiful Southwest national parks we have in our own country. These 1 to 2 minute videos can be viewed that easily just by asking for it. And that's a great way to get a good an insight to what this is all about.
Yeah, Jeff, I have to tell you, we have clients that we sent on Rocky Mountaineer from Vancouver to Calgary, and they stopped in Lake Louise. I don't remember the hotel there that you
probably
used.
The Chateau Lake Louise by Fairmont.
Oh, that's right. They were in the chateau. And what they told me was they had a beautiful breakfast there, and then it overlooks the lake, and I guess at the end of the day, they had to leave, and they had to drag them out. Basically, they didn't want to leave. I mean, first of all, they loved the trip, and the scenery and the wildlife was spectacular. But they got to that hotel, and they were like, this was like the pinnacle of their trip, and they just loved every part of it, every bit of it.
If you don't mind, I just add one little line to that, Greg. One big recommendation I have is when you get to these places, please do not just do one night, because you'll check in the evening and check out first thing in the morning and regret rushing through this beautiful part of the world. Charlie, you'll probably agree with me about Jasper.
Yeah.
You got to spend at least 2 nights. You can do more, but at least 2. So you have a full day of leisure. Or if you're extremely active and you want to be touring and sightseeing right when you wake up, you can add on tours. You can do what makes sense for each of them. But slow time down and enjoy where you are.
Yeah, that's a great tip. There's so much to see and do, and hiking. Oh my Lord, glaciers. Glaciers 20 years ago. I don't know if they still exist now. But wow, yeah.
Jeff, what are some of the excursions you can take from the train trip?
Yeah, so with a lot of our touring, what we do is when you are going between Jasper and Lake Louise, or Lake Louise and Banff, or vice versa, because once again, you could start in Calgary and head westbound to Vancouver, or start in Vancouver and head eastbound, or round trip. It's all up to you. But the touring component comes in when we're taking you from point A to point B, and then from point B to point C. So, for example, between Jasper and Lake Louise, you are at the Columbia Icefield Parkway, been voted the most scenic highway in the world. We will stop every 10 to 15 minutes at different viewpoints, different glaciers, different waterfalls and lakes, and of course, wildlife. You'll have an opportunity to do the Ice Explorer, a mammoth monster truck that takes on to Athabasca Glacier, where you can go play in the snow. There's a glacial skywalk there. Both in Jasper and Banff, we have gondolas. They'll take you to the tops of these incredible mountains in Banff. It's called Sulphur Mountain. And so you have also different touring and sightseeing outside of the main towns you're in. So if you want to sightsee and see not only downtown Banff, but some of the beautiful waterfalls, Bow Falls, the Hoodoos, which is some unique topography in the mountain ranges, go to the top of Sulphur Mountain and get a 360 view of the incredible glaciers and national park that's right there, the Yoho National Park. That's all brought in and put together into the touring component. We have half-day tours, full-day tours, but the majority of the tours that are bundled into the package are the ones that people love, rave, and review about just being the best. And so we've been able to build those into all of our different packages, especially in the Canadian Rockies. In the U.S., we have different touring components. These are all set up through a third party called Moab Adventure Center. And we just started this U.S. round in 2021. So in the Canadian Rockies, we've been operating there for 33 years. And of course, as you know, as time moves on, we're able to truly, really develop our partnerships and relationships with certain third parties. So Canada, seamless. And it honestly is a really, we've set these partnerships for many years. For the U.S. route, it is not as, I would say, all the tours are built in, but we give you the option to add on sightseeing. And if you want to do a river cruise off the Colorado River, or if you want to do a there's Jeep tours, there's hiking into arches and canyonlands. We are making sure we set you up with the transfers to the Moab Adventure Center, and off you go to experience whatever you want to do. We do have some things bundled in, but Canadian Rockies is definitely where we have a lot more tour options. The U.S., there are still plenty to choose from, but not as much as the Canadian Rockies.
So if we're ready to book that train trip, what's the best time of year?
So for the Canadian Rockies, we operate from mid-April to mid-October, and then for the U.S., it's mid-April to end of October. So Canada, mid-October; U.S., end of October. My personal opinion, and I've done this trip in the Canadian Rockies over 10 times, I love mid-May to mid-June, and it's for 4 great reasons. First, more wildlife. Statistically, you get a lot of wildlife sightings. Second, the weather is around mid-70s during the day, mid-60s at night. Third, less crowds, less traffic, less congestion. And then finally, when it comes to hotels, you can save around $1,000 to $2,000 per couple by going at this time of the year. And if you were to go before mid-May, you would get a majority of those points I brought up except weather, where you may get a lot more rain showers. And I just kind of think rain dampens the whole experience. Another very popular time, and a time that I highly recommend for the Canadian Rockies, would be September, with fall foliage and the leaves changing color, which is just amazing. in the US, because it's a desert out in Utah and Nevada and all that area, I don't highly recommend going this summer, but if you do, you dress accordingly, take lots of water. But the best times to go, I think, we're going to be April, May, June, and then you have September and October would be our top, booking seasons we have for the US.
What makes Rocky Mountaineer stand out among all the others?
Oh, there's so much. I mean, first, I've already mentioned it. You never sleep on board, stay in hotels every night. The fact that we are able to customize and provide different experiences pending the budget you have between 3 and 5-star properties, and adding on certain touring components, making it unique and different, really makes us stand out. The fact that our trains are all brand new. We have over 20 engines, over 65 train cars. They've all been completely refurbished, and they are exceptional equipment that we use, with amazing fine dining food on board. On top of that, with the speed that we travel at such a slow speed, the amazing attention and storytelling by our hosts and hostesses on board, I mean, you can definitely look at us on TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor, if you don't know, is a place where people spew hate and anger and negative feedback. We've been on there since we started, maintaining a 4.5 or higher every single season. It's out of 5.0. So you just think out of 10, 4.5 is failing. Out of 5, 0 to 5, it's winning. And we've been really maintaining exceptional experiences and service for every single year that we've been operating. We're only going to be expanding in the US, which I think is quite exciting, as there is no luxury train. We have Amtrak, we have Via Rail up in Canada. These are commuter trains. Not so much the luxury experience where you're going to pay for a hot dog. With us, it's true fine dining on board, all-inclusive alcohol. There's so many things that really make us quite unique. One more thing to add that I didn't yet before is about enhancing your Alaska cruise, because many have done Denali. They've seen Anchorage, they've seen Denali, they've done the whole Alaska experience, but perhaps they want to go back to Alaska, do the cruise, but instead of doing the whole Alaska State Park again, add us as a pre or a post cruise tour option, enhancing your experiencing. And if it was my recommendation, I would do it as a post cruise tour, or just do Rocky Mountaineer alone as a trip of a lifetime, starting in Vancouver and heading eastbound. Because when you head east, the hills become mountains, the mountains become glaciers, the wildlife gets so much more amazing. And the best is yet to come. Places like Jasper, Lake Louise, and Banff. And that will truly be like icing on the cake after your cruise. So those are just some points to your question. I don't want to keep going on rambling, but there's so many reasons what makes us really stand out and be quite unique.
Well, sign me up.
Gladly.
Wow. So, Laurie and Greg, you've been all over the world. Any tips, tricks, recommendations? Like what it's funny, Jeff mentioned the Alaska journey, and we talked about that in a previous episode. Great episode for listeners. Make sure you go back and listen to that. But you talked about, the one thing that if you go, that dog, not race, but,
Dog mushing. Yep.
Thank you. Any must-dos on the luxury train vacation that comes to mind?
Well, first of all, you've got to go to Vancouver. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of our favorite places on earth, and there's so many things to see there. And I think we spent a whole day at Stanley Park. We went to the aquarium. I think I stepped on a couple kids, but other than that, it was really, really nice. But it's, this is such a special town. And if you really get a chance, really spend some time there. But we send a lot of clients that end their cruise in Vancouver.
Yes.
So I guess our tip would be, why don't you call us? We'll put you on a cruise for Alaska that ends in Vancouver. And then you can take Rocky Mountaineer after that from Vancouver to Calgary, which would be, how awesome would that be?
That's the perfect combination.
Yeah, I love that idea. Wow. Good.
And I would just add to that, saying that, we're seeing an increase year over year of those who are on Rocky Mountaineer having a pre or post cruise tour attachment. It's becoming much more popular. And, I think the best way you can definitely do this is by working with a travel agent, because there's so many options you have when it comes to Rocky Mountaineer, from hotels, tours, transfers, and the amount of days and the budget you want to spend. And I'm just being honest with you, we don't discount. We don't work with companies like Costco. We don't rebate. So by going to a pro, an experienced advisor such as Greg and Lori, you are truly going to just make your life so much more stress-free. And they're going to pretty much make sure that you have the most exceptional experience the entire time. And they know what really makes a trip of a lifetime. They've done it so many times, and they can easily kind of, make something exactly how you want to do it with the budget that works best for you.
Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate that.
Of course.
It's
I'm very thankful that we're so partnered so well together, and you've supported me so well. So I just want to make sure that they understand how good you are, because it's true.
Yeah, and thanks to you and your sales team, because every time we've run into any kind of hitch or had any kind of question or problem, they've jumped on it right away and taken care of it. So thank you again for all the help from you and your sales team. We really, really do appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, this has been awesome, and you over delivered. Boy, I was teased with the train journey, and my Lord, who knew? So, Greg and Lori, I know we have listeners who are like, boy, sign me up for this, or at least want to learn more. So for our listeners, what's the best way for them to reach out and to learn more?
Reach us at 239-603-6040 or at bonitaspringstravel.com or on Facebook, Cruise with Lori. And you will find all kinds of vacation, exciting news, specials, perks, all kinds of things that we offer.
Love it. Love it. And do you have any journeys coming up? Anything over the next few weeks, a few months?
Well, we just returned from Europe for a month with traveling with clients of ours, doing some touring and river cruises and train trips. And it was a fabulous trip of a lifetime that we would recommend to anybody.
Wow. Wow. So what's the count now? You're like mid-90s number of cruises that you've
98
done?
we just did.
98. Oh,
Wow.
Are you going to do something for number 100? Or something
Oh, absolutely.
Special?
We're going to celebrate big time.
Oh, I can't. Well, I love it. We'll have to do a live episode for that one.
There you go. You're on.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, thanks for being a part of the show. And man, I look forward to getting your message out there. And what a trip. And Lori and Greg, we'll see you maybe at some point, cruise number 100, maybe a little before or definitely right after, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Dream Vacations with Lori and Greg Schuss. To learn more about our travel business, you can go to cruisewithlori.com. You can call us at 239-603-6040 or email gshuss, that's GSHUSS, at dreamvacations.com. Now until next time, have an awesome day.